And so we've really leaned into whatever you want to call it, AI SEO, GEO, AEO, what, like everybody's debating over that. I'm just like, let's ship.
Okay.
So,
I don't care what
yeah,
you call it. We got to win.
yeah,
Uh, you talked about attribution. That's it's a harder. So when I'm working, so we have a mix of clients, a lot of doctors, lawyers, engineer types, smart, very intelligent people. They're not like, just not, their specialty is not SEO. And then we have a handful of 9-figure brands that we just do SEO for. Those conversations with the 9-figure brands are interesting because you're talking to a marketing director that does
yeah,
understand SEO. Last year, we had a 9-figure brand contract with them, and he said we were the first agency to talk to him about not caring about the brand. And he said for years, SEO companies would show up and say, hey, well, look at all this traffic you were getting. And he was like, well, I'm smart enough to know that 50% of that is brand traffic, whatever the number is exactly, a majority of it. And I was the first one to be like, well, you're failing here, you're failing here, you're failing here. So this is where we're going to go win. And he's like, that, to me, to show up and talk about attributions, like these are where the buying terms are. That's a conversation I like to have a lot with owners. We've had a lot, and then on the local side, we've had a lot of clients come to us and say, I'm getting 4,000, 5,000 visitors a month. I'm like, your market can't support that much traffic. You're just ranking for blog stuff. You're in Chicago and you're getting, traffic from all over the United States. Not that that's bad, but that's not where your buyers are coming from. And there's been a handful of clients where we have cut their traffic in half by pruning and being more specific about their topical map, and their phones just take off, right? They're like, my phone is ringing all the time. And they'll see their traffic report. They'll be like, we're down 20%. What's going on? I'm like, because it's not that I don't care, but I'm not after that traffic. I always talk about like the awareness level, right? I want the people that are most aware, ready to buy, that don't know your name yet. That's like an effective, for me at the local level, that's the most effective SEO strategy. Again, not to say that there isn't informational search isn't important, but if we're going to get cannibalized by AI search, which we can show up in those informational searches, get credit for them, but we know people aren't converting through.
yeah. I think that it's just forcing the conversation to be what needed to always happen, right? Like,
right.
You're like, if your KPIs are traffic and you want to grow traffic, and you're ranking for all these blog terms, that you're ranking for 5,000 blog terms, and
Right.
like, you're a local small business. Like, does that help you? Like, if that's the metric you're going, oh, our traffic's going down.
Right.
Like, who cares about your traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what are the events happening in GA4? Like, what are the events you have set up? Like, let's get to the buying signals, like you said. And I think one of the best things that happened was when they started breaking apart content into different categories. And then they just started throwing informational search out there in Google and say, hey, like, you're going to show up for this. It's going to build your brand. That's great. But that's not the goal of a lot of businesses. And there a lot of people have posted charts on social media that their brand traffic's going way down, but the revenue, which you should always be talking about, and that's the conversation with the CEOs, is going up. And so it's kind of like a moot point. It's just like, we're driving more revenue. Let's look at different numbers. Like, you've been trained to look at things that are not useful. And so I think that aligns the conversation better. And now people are starting to understand it more. And there's that kind of level of curiosity to AI. And, there's a lot of like very curious CEOs out there about AI. And the conversation for us is more moving into, how is it moving into the workflow? How is it moving outside of marketing? And I think marketers in a really strong position because we were impacted first. Now legal review, you got HR, you got all these other areas that AI is dipping into, but it impacted marketing and knowledge work first. And so, I was even talking to some engineers, and like, they're like, oh yeah, we were doing this, we were doing that. And I was just like, I'm in this like all day long, every day, multiple windows open, like, and you're like, oh, like I wanted to, do something on a spreadsheet. And I was just like, okay, like that's cool. And I think that there's I think that there's going to be a lot of people that like that if you're an engineer or you're a developer, that you're going to get some compound leverage in what's happening, at least in the short term. I mean, I don't know where the future goes, and you see the numbers kind of straight up. So I mean, we'll see. I think it's, you know, I think it's adoption faster than even the internet, and look what happened with that, you know. So